Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call the November 19th, 2020 meeting of the Columbia County Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Gentlemen, if I could ask you to please remove your hats and your visors. Thank you very much. If you'd stand, Commissioner Wilder will lead us in the our invocation, and Commissioner Henderson will lead us in the pledge.
Y'all bow with us, please. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the many blessings you bestow upon us, this country, this state, especially this community. We ask that you look over us this evening, guide our proceedings, give us wisdom to discern and make the proper decisions. And all these things in Jesus' name, ask, amen.
Flag, United States of America, republic, one nation, God.
Thank you. If I could remind you to please silence your cell phones. And before we get started, we have had a request from some of the ladies that transcribe the meeting. If you do come up in one of the public hearings tonight, make sure you speak directly into the microphone and project for us, because these meetings are recorded and they're available on CD. I guess, Kara, would you be the person that would provide those if you'd like a recording?
They're on YouTube.
Oh, they're on, okay. So they are on the county website. So, but then again, the ladies transcribe them for a minute, so if you could help us out and speak loudly into the microphone, I would appreciate it. Gentlemen, you've had a chance, we do have all 5 commissioners present tonight. Gentlemen, you've had a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting. If there are no additions or amendments, I need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Motion to approve. Count passes 4-0, and Commissioner Henderson was absent last time around. We also have had a chance to review the agenda tonight. I believe we do have one additional item. Mr. Vice Chair?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to add item H2E1, individual plat for Brandon Wall.
Okay, do I hear any other additional items? Okay, that being said, I need a motion for approval with the additional items of Crawford Road.
So move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Passes 5-0. And I'm missing the statement for tonight. Are we not reading that into the agenda?
The planning.
Sorry.
I should know it from memory.
Sorry.
Let's see. I don't think that's what we need. It's Chairman Cox gave a brief description of the planning.
You can just read what's in quotes. You don't have to read the descriptor at the beginning.
Okay. All right. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to clarify that the Planning Commission is a recommending body to the Columbia County Board of Commissioners. The decisions made on rezoning and variance requests tonight will be forwarded for the Commissioners for final action on December 1st, okay, 2020. If you wish to address the Board of Commissioners at their meeting, please see Ms. Kara Harden, and she'll give you a request to speak form. We're less formal in these chambers. Our job is to gather information for the commissioners for them to consider at their meetings. So if you have an issue in one of our public hearings that you'd like to speak on, please raise your hand. I'll ask you to come up to the dais, speak loudly into the microphone, and we'll let you speak for 3 to 5 minutes on whatever topic you'd like in the public hearings. If you have something that we're not covering in the public hearing, we have a time at the end of the meeting for public comments. And if you have something outside the purview of the public hearings, we'd invite you to come up the same way, 3 to 5 minutes, and give us your feelings on whatever issue that involves the county that you'd like to address. That being said, we'll dive right into a bit of unfinished business. Mr. Butler, file RZ201101, and this is a public hearing.
That is correct. This is a request at 3157, 3165 Gordon Highway for a rezoning to CC for office and restaurant uses. Property is currently zoned S1 and RA. This is the location of the property. Again, it does straddle the Augusta-Richmond County line and Columbia County line. Again, shows the location of the property, and the current zoning is S1 for the piece here and RA for the piece here. In terms of zoning around it, you do have RA to the north, and on this side of Parham Road, you do have more industrial zonings. Zone C3 from a materials reclamation facility, and a office warehouse complex. Across the street on Parham Road is Gate 6, or the new Gate 6 at Fort Gordon, not shown in this aerial view.
Excuse me. Mr. Butler. Sir, could I ask you to please remove your hat during the meeting? Thank you.
Backwards. Or no, it didn't, excuse me. This is an aerial view of the site. Again, it shows the old racetrack on the site and then the residential properties to the south. This is the existing site, 3157, again, the old racetrack property. And also 3165, which has been cleared of the former residential properties on the site. There's a plat for 3157 Gordon Highway and also the plat for 3165 Gordon Highway, again, showing some of the property within Richmond County. There's the Alta survey of the same properties, basically showing what all is being rezoned. There's the other side of that. So the request this evening is for about 480,000 square feet of office. This will be Class A office space with also about 6,000 square feet of restaurant use on the property. What's before you tonight is we say it's a proposed concept. However, there's no vesting of the design or anything like that. There is going to likely be some changes to this plan. In terms of this project, it's large enough that it is a development of regional impact. We have received those comments back from the Regional Commission. That includes Augusta Richmond County, Fort Gordon, GDOT, many different organizations, many different governmental organizations. I mean, both Harlem and Grovetown. There are some things that we're still working through from that DRI, primarily with sewer access as well as access on Gordon Highway. This shows you I can't remember, I believe it was an axonometric view. It's been a while since I've been doing anything with architecture. Again, it shows the site. Again, you're looking at 4 5-story buildings on the site and also the restaurant as well. Shows the access exhibit that's in talks with GDOT right now. So primarily, staff is in support of this request. Now, future land use side of things is where it gets a little interesting. This is currently the neighborhoods portion of the future land use map. That would mean you'd have residential there. This isn't residential, pretty clearly. However, this is under revision right now, this whole area. This will likely be changed to more of a industrial or office type area around Gate 6. You also have to factor in that these 3 properties here are all zoned for more industrial uses. This request to CC is a lot less intense than that. And in addition, you also have with the Development Authority has a, kind of similar to the county, has essentially a comp plan, if you want to put it that way, but kind of how they want to function over the next 5 years. One of the goals from that plan in 2016 was to establish an office complex here. So again, this does fulfill that goal. That was a goal of both the Development Authority and the County Commission. So because of that, staff is, again, comfortable with this request. Again, it doesn't meet the actual letter of Vision 2035, but there are some factors to kind of help that out. So again, staff is recommending approval with a condition. The first one, it will require connection to a sewer system. This thing is too large to be on any kind of septic system or anything like that. We have been told by Augusta Richmond County this will have sewer provided to it. There's not really a question that's going to happen. However, we do have this condition in place. There's also another condition that requires that if it is not developed within, I believe, it's 18 months, then that will revert back to the current zoning. That's kind of put somewhat of a ticking clock on it, and also to make sure that if it doesn't happen, we'll kind of want to go back and we'll discuss it again at that point. That includes staff recommendation.
Okay, gentlemen, any questions of staff?
Is the restaurant going to be a chain? Is there any idea what that is?
I would say there's no idea what it's going to be. I mean, again, this is very
Commissary.
conceptual in nature. I believe the applicant should be here this evening if they can divulge something that's a question for them.
Any other questions? This is a public hearing. Is the applicant here this evening? Yes, sir. Would you like to come forward, give us your name, home address, and any additional information you'd like us to have?
Good evening. My name is Chance Rand. I'm the Senior Vice President of Development for Chesterfield. We are the applicant on this project. And to answer your question about a chain restaurant, it's still a little early in the process to know which restaurant or facilities will be in that location. So we're still in the pre-programming phase and hope to have some information on that here in the near future.
The only reason for the question is when you look at the development, it's kind of an odd added on. Is there any idea of maybe doing additional restaurants on some of the other, or is that it? I mean, come back to us for some change.
So we're still working through the master plan of the site. We're working through some of the security issues in terms of parking so close, for DOD type of facilities. And so the master plan may change, it may be massaged a little bit, buildings may get a little closer, and may get a little further apart. We do believe that there needs to be some retail, some restaurants and so forth to support not only the community, but this development as well. So we're actively looking at other properties to encourage some retail growth to support this, and as well as the Fort.
Mr. Rand, we all know what Class A office space, but that's mentioned, and that may be kind of a foreign term for folks. Would you mind giving a brief description of what Class A office space is versus just what people may ordinarily think of as office space?
Absolutely, thank you. So Class A office space is a higher-end product that has a lot of glass, a lot of architectural features on the exterior of the building. It may include some brick features. It may include some precast concrete features. Interior-wise, you'll have some marble countertops and countering, tile floors. So it's a real high-end quality development.
But with Class A, with the DOD, won't you have things like elevated static-free floors and skiff space and
Absolutely.
And it's a much more secure
You
building
are
versus
correct, and
office.
so it'll have skiff space. We're still going through the pre-programming phase. Do we need individual tenants skiff space, or do we do one skiff space that we lease out to the tenants? So we're still programming the buildings, and so the footprints may change slightly. So yes, we are currently running through all those programming efforts at this moment.
Now, are you all gonna, is it gonna be a landlord-tenant arrangement, or do you already have tenants in mind before you build, or are you gonna build it and hope they come?
Yeah, is it multi-tenant or single tenant?
It's a little bit of both
Yeah.
there, and it'll be a multi-tenant. Each building, we're assuming will be multi-tenant. So it's 120,000 total plus or minus per building. We think that it's definitely going to be multi-tenant even on each floor. Somewhere, probably the largest user will be somewhere between 15 and 30,000 square feet, we assume. And so the buildings will be designed to handle those multi-tenant demands. And so in terms of the space and spec build versus build to suit, our intent is to start spec. We have been in conversations with a lot of the brokers in Washington, D.C., who represent a lot of the governmental agencies, as well as some of the private contractors that work for the government. And so they are, we're receiving very good feedback from those groups on this project.
Will you have the entire campus under construction, or will you build a building, fill it up, then go to the next building?
We anticipate a phasing type of plan. We'll build one and fill it up, and if we don't have enough space to accommodate someone, then we'll start on the second building. But we highly doubt we'll build all four at one time.
Gentlemen, any other questions?
What kind of timeline are you looking for this completed vision? See, 10 years, 5 years?
At this point, we're estimating probably somewhere between 8 and 10 years. Hopefully it's sooner. So cyber's not going away, so.
A lot of it depends on.
How's the 18-month requirement affect this process?
So the feedback we're getting out of DC is we can't start fast enough. So we will probably, right now, our preliminary timeline is hopefully be back before this body in maybe March timeframe, April timeframe with plans, architectural plans, and site plans, with a construction start of maybe early to midsummer, expecting maybe a 12-month build out for the shell, and then maybe another 3 or 4 months build out for the TI. So from this point, probably Probably 18 months completion from today, if I had to guess, for the first building.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone that'd like to speak either for or against this particular rezoning? Bennett, would you like to represent the county?
Afternoon. Robbie Bennett, Executive Director for the Development Authority of Columbia County. Good to see you guys. Just to touch on what Will said from Vision 2035 plan, if you recall, when we went through that program the first time, one of the initiatives that it did call out was for us to do an economic development strategic plan for the county. Per that planning process, we did learn that having something here at Gate 6 that can benefit Fort Gordon and the region was a critical need long-term, and that's where this is coming from. I do want to stress this is also a regional collaboration. It has to be with the county line being split and the access to Fort Gordon and the utility piece. We continue to work with our counterparts in Augusta and see it as an opportunity that creates new and exciting synergies in our market.
This is the first real Class A private sector venture, isn't it?
Yes, private sector venture, absolutely.
Gentlemen, any questions? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Appreciate the work you do, too. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak either for or against this particular rezoning? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and move to a motion to, or accept a motion to approve, deny, or to table.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve RZ 20-11-01 with restrictions.
Restrictions or conditions?
Conditions or restrictions?
Excuse me.
Thank you, sir.
I second.
Do I hear a second? All right. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion to approve carries 5-0. Mr. Butler, massage operator's license for Christina A. Carino.
Thank you. This is a massage operator's license over at 713 Evans Town Center Boulevard, Suite 201. Also for mobile massage service. This location was actually rezoned with a conditional use at your previous planning commission meeting on the 4th. It was approved on Tuesday by the Board of Commissioners, so she's back before you guys for her MOL. She meets all requirements of the ordinance, and staff recommends approval.
Gentlemen, any questions of staff? Not a public hearing, so I'll accept a motion to approve, deny, or to table.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the massage operator's license for Christina A. Carino.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Approved carries 5-0. Ms. Neal, we've got a temporary use authorization that's presented as information only.
Yes, sir. This is a temporary use authorization at 600 Grand Oaks Way on 24.68 acres, currently zoned plan unit development. This is for a construction office during the Grand Oaks construction for their apartment complex in River Island. It shows the location of the site. It shows the plan unit development and the area around it. It's also zoned plan unit development. And this shows the site plan and the location where the construction trailer will be. And again, this was approved on November 12th.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Montgomery, our newlywed, preliminary plat for Coleman Estates.
Yes, sir. This is a preliminary plat for 11 lots off Hinton Wilson Road on 93 acres, currently zoned RA residential agricultural. This is the location off Hinton Wilson here, an additional small access on Fieldstone Drive at the west end of the site. This is the aerial. I'm currently primarily undeveloped other than the one existing house. And this is the preliminary plat for the 11 lots. This is a private road subdivision that is intended to be a private gravel road. So the lots all are required to be over 5 acres. The smallest lot in this plat is 5.1 acres with an average lot size of 7.05 acres. These lots will have individual wells and septic systems. There are no county utilities out here for them to connect to. The majority of the lots are served by the new private road with the exception of Tract A up here at the top. That will have driveway access from Fieldstone Drive. Minimum building setbacks are 45 feet from the rights-of-way, 10 feet from the side property lines, and 25 feet from the rear property lines. There are additionally required buffers along Hinton Wilson Road and along the perimeter of the project. When those buffers are present, the setback is 10 feet from the edge of that buffer. And staff is recommending approval of the preliminary plat.
Gentlemen, any questions to staff? Okay, this is not a public hearing, so I'll need a motion to approve, deny, or to table.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the preliminary plat for Coleman Acres, 11 lots off of Hinton Wilson Road.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Approved carries 5-0. Ms. Montgomery, preliminary plat for Whispering Pines, Section 5.
Yes, sir, this is the preliminary plat for the next section of Whispering Pines located off William Few Parkway. 141 lots on almost 57 acres. So this is the parcel. It is a portion of this parcel that is involved in this plat, located off kind of the north side of William Few. And this is the aerial of the undeveloped site. The area outlined in yellow is the area involved in this plat submittal. And this is the plat. It is 141 lots with a minimum lot size of 7,145 square feet and an average lot size of 8,900 square feet. Minimum setbacks for this project are 25 feet from the right-of-way, 7.5 feet from the side property lines, and 10 feet from the rear property lines. And we'll have sidewalks and street trees on both sides of the road, and 18.94 acres of open space in this section, including 2 park areas. There is a 40-foot buffer against Windmill Plantation. There is a small portion of that where the sewer line does cross through that buffer and kind of runs parallel to it for a short distance. They're going to have to go back and replant a portion of that buffer to meet the intent of the PUD. The preliminary plat does additionally include this short connecting road between the 2 loops. That was not on the concept, but serves to shorten up the blocks and make it a little more pedestrian friendly, so staff is in support of that minor revision. And staff is recommending approval of the plat.
Gentlemen, any questions to staff? Okay, this is not a public hearing, so I need a motion to approve, deny, or to table.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve preliminary plat, Whispering Pines 5.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Approved carries 5-0. Ms. Montgomery, we staying with you for Crawford Road, or does that go to Mr. Butler?
I'll do that one.
Okay.
Yes. This is a request for individual plat for Brandon Wall, locations 1803 and 1807 Smith Crawford Road, 8.22 acres, currently zoned RA residential agricultural, 3 lots. Staff recommending approval of the request. There's a location on the property. As you'll see here in a minute, we've seen both these and also this one past 4 months. So we're kind of familiar with this property. Again, location on the north side of Smith Crawford Road. Again, everything around it and the existing property is zoned RA residential agricultural. And it shows the plat. So again, we're kind of working back from August, kind of showing what all has happened. That they used the minor platting process back in August. What that does is, once we subdivide again off of it, it has to come out before you guys because it's a 5-year moratorium. They can request to basically get rid of that issue. This is in August. Then we have the one in September, and these are the properties we're going to be dealing with here in a minute. And then we have the one from last month, and it shows that's again the larger property is subdivided. The request tonight before you guys is to take the previous 2 properties and change them into 3 properties, all 2.74 acres in size. The rear property on B3 will be accessed via the utility easement shown here. And again, staff recommends approval of the individual plat. Please, staff recommendation.
Gentlemen, any questions to staff? Not a public hearing, so we need a motion to approve, deny, or to table.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the individual plat for Brandon Wall.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Motion to approve carries 5-0. We'll move into our public hearing portion of the evening. Ms. Neal, file RZ 20-11-06.
Yes, so there's a request for a major plan unit development revision at 3781 Martinez Boulevard on 18.4 acres. This shows the location of the site off Martinez Boulevard near the railroad tracks and the plan unit development site and the areas around it. This shows an aerial of the site. This is Augusta Iron and Steel Works. This shows the existing site. So the request before you tonight is for an increase in the freestanding sign allowance. This property is zoned plan unit development, so they, instead of getting a variance, they have to apply for a revision to the plan. So they're requesting to have a sign here along the entrance of the site, and they have to do an increase to allow tractor trailer clearance to get in and out of the site. That clearance would be 17 feet. And in order for them to have a sign above 17 feet, they're requesting the variance to be up to 22 feet. The property does have 3 different entrances. One is the main entrance where this freestanding sign will be. One is an entrance for a railroad a railroad entrance for them to go in and out. And then they also have emergency entrance in the rear of near Cheryl Drive. This shows the plat of the property. This shows where the location of the sign is going to be. And this is an example of the sign. The signs that they are going to use is a prototype for the DOT signs over the interstate. So it kind of fits the character of what the business sells. And in addition to this, the property was also precedes county zoning. And at the time that it was zoned, when the time that county started zoning, it was zoned residential, as all the surrounding areas around it are zoned residential, except for along Martinez Boulevard. So they, once county, they decided to go do a major revision in 2000, they became a planned unit development, so therefore they have to go ahead and get the revision in order for them to do any changes to the property. So they do have to request that. They are allowed a freestanding sign allowance of 125 square feet, but they are only requesting it to be 72 square feet. But they do have to get the increase for the height to be allowed. It is located within the Martinez Activity Center on the future land use map, which allows for shops, restaurants, offices, higher density residential uses. Although the manufacturing steel doesn't fit in that activity center, it has been there for 53 years and precedes county zoning. The request is in keeping with the nature of the business and the area that's on Martinez Boulevard. So therefore, staff's recommended approval with conditions. We do request that the design of the sign use the materials and graphics as proposed in this submittal, and the overall maximum height be limited to the 22 feet. That concludes staff recommendation.
Gentlemen, any questions of staff? This is a public hearing. Is the applicant here this evening? So please give us your name and number.
Ray Peters, 139 Pondview Road, Evans, AAA Sign Company. She did a great job of explaining exactly what the request is. They want to build a structure to be able to use as a prototype for different states' DOTs coming in to see their capabilities and that kind of thing. The sign itself that says Augusta Iron and Steel Works is approximately 60% of what is allowed by current code. Basically, that's the request.
Gentlemen, any questions? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Peters. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone else who would like to speak either for or against this particular rezoning? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and accept a motion to approve, deny, or to table.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve with conditions, file RZ 20-1106, provision to pub at Martinez Boulevard.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Motion to approve carries 5-0. Mr. Butler, conditional use for massage, file RZ 20-1107.
Thank you. There's a request at 3506 Professional Circle, currently zoned PDD, Professional or Planned Development District. And again, conditional use for massage, existing use is professional offices. There's a location on the property kind of to the east of Furious Ferry Road. And again, currently zoned PDD. Property around it, along Furious Ferry, you're going to have a mixture of commercial and professional and some S1s that are, you have a school and a church here. But again, behind all that, you're going to have residential. As you can see here, you have the PUD that's Westlake behind it. There's an aerial view of the site, and also some site photos showing what it currently looks like. So in terms of the request, the applicant has a state license for massage and also many other certifications as well. So there's really no issue with that side of things. For the future land use, this is within a residential area. However, the corridor of Furious Ferry, as you saw before, is mostly professional or commercial. So again, this fits within the comp plan. Due to all that, staff does recommend approval of the request. That includes staff recommendation.
Gentlemen, any questions of staff? Is the applicant here this evening? Would you like to come forward and give us your name and home address and any additional information you'd like us to have?
Good evening. Cheryl Connell, and my home address 155 Moorhead Drive, Martinez, 30907. As it's already been said, but I'm currently a surgical cardiac ICU nurse and have been for almost 31 years now. Massage license here in Columbia County for over 5 years now, but I'm an orthopedic master musculoskeletal therapist, so I do a lot of pain management and corrective therapy. So looking now, my daughter is now also a licensed massage therapist, and we're looking now to expand our practice, and that would benefit the community.
Gentlemen, any questions? Thank you, ma'am. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here that'd like to speak either for or against this particular rezoning? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and accept a motion to approve, deny, or to table.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve file RZ 201107, conditional use for massage at 3506 Professional Circle.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Approved, carries 5-0. Mr. Butler, file RZ 201108.
Thanks for the request for a plan revision at 229 South Old Bel Air Road, currently zoned S1 special for sports performance and fitness training. The request is a major revision, provides a scheduled number of clients and also expand uses. There's a location of the property on the west side of South Old Bel Air Road, just south of the Hamptons of Baldwin Lake, also kind of across the street from Perry Mill and Amelia Landing. It says current zoning of the site, again, zoned S1. You have, again, around it, you have R1, R2 for more residential development. The other S1 here is now a school. It was a church at one time. And let's see, it shows the location, or the aerial view of the site. Again, with the previous rezoning in 2018, they used the existing buildings for their sports and performance training. So we'll kind of be talking about that here in a moment. In the existing site, also the plat of the property. It is a little bit of an odd plat if you're curious why there's two of them, but I won't get into that. This shows a plan, the constructed plan itself. In terms of the request, they are looking to basically expand what they currently do on the site. That includes more training, more people. Currently, it's in staff's opinion, it's limited to 12 people at one time. With the way the narrative is currently written, that could be up to, I believe, 72 to 78. That would be during summer. With the request itself, staff was very clear with the original request that more than 12 we would not be in favor of. We're still holding that line in terms of that. So we are going to recommend disapproval of the request. In terms of future land use, it is within a residential area, our neighborhoods area within the comp plan. That includes, you could have residential, and also you could also have churches and schools as well. This use, if it did follow the current narrative, not the revised narrative, would likely fit within that if it was followed to be. Due to everything presented tonight, staff is recommending disapproval of the request. That includes staff recommendation.
This is a public hearing. However, we've had a request from the applicant to postpone the public hearing until December 17th.
Right.
Because they are looking at going back to the drawing board with the entire site.
That's my understanding, that they're going to be in contact with staff and county administration to work through their application and see if there's a more agreeable set of terms to work from.
So,
but they've requested in writing to postpone the public hearing and application to the December 17th Planning Commission meeting.
so the conversations we've had on site and the information that we've got in our packet, none of that is valid at this point.
They're looking to possibly alter that significantly enough that the information that you have to date may change to the point where having, all of the discussion tonight may be a little moot if they come back with something completely different at the December 17th meeting. So that's why we are, in favor of the request to postpone the public hearing until that December 17th meeting.
Okay.
Now, having said that, we will still post, the signs that are out there now will have the updated hearing date of the December 17th meeting. We'll go ahead and post it in the paper again, just like we would for a normal public hearing date.
Can I ask in the audience tonight, how many folks are here regarding this particular issue? Okay, so we've been asked to postpone this until the 17th. So what I'd like to do is ask you folks to come back on the 17th so that we all have an opportunity to see what they're proposing. And I'm sure staff will have whatever they're proposing available to any of the folks in the audience here that want to see it. So any conversations we have tonight are really not applicable because we don't know what they're going to propose. Yes, sir. You have a question? Well, when you're done. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delay that and ask you to come up during the public comment section as opposed to this. Okay. All right, with that being said, gentlemen, I need a motion to postpone the public hearing until December 17th.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to postpone the public hearing for agenda item H2G3, file RZ 20-11-08, major S1 revision
17th.
to December 17th, 20.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Motion to postpone carries 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, just to make sure everybody understands, that will be same time, same place, just December 17th here again for the Planning Commission meeting.
I'll be in a sling. Okay, Ms. Neal, we've got a variance 201104.
Yes, sir. This is a request for a variance at 407 Dixon Drive on 1.45 acres, currently zoned R1 Single Family Residential. The variance request is for Section 90-53, List of Lot and Structure Requirements, for a reduction in the building setbacks. This shows the location of the site, the intersection of Dixon Drive and Hereford Farm Road. This shows the R1 zoning along with the surrounding R1 zoning. And this shows the aerial of the site. The request is for the utility building to be placed back here in that corner of the property. This shows the existing site from Hereford Farm Road and this Hereford Farm, and then also from Dixon Drive. And this shows the location that they're wanting to put the utility building. They've already kind of cleaned a little bit of the area up on the property. As you can see, it kind of slopes down a little bit into a natural swell on the back side of that part of the property. Makes it a little difficult to put the building back there. They're proposing to put it along the Dixon Drive location. This shows the plat of the property. They do have 2 road frontages, so they're required to follow 2 front setback requirements along Dixon Drive and Hereford Farm Road, which kind of limits them on the space that they're allowed as well. This shows where they're wanting to place the utility building, and their request is to reduce the setback to be a total encroachment of 15 feet. The building setback will be 50 feet from the center line of Dixon Drive. And the driveway is also along Dixon Drive, which makes it easy access for him to get his boat, which is what the request is for, is a utility building for his boat. It allows him easy access from his driveway to get in and out that utility building along Dixon Drive.
So there won't be a second entrance on Dixon Drive?
No, sir. And staff is recommending approval with condition that the applied setback will only apply to this utility building. Any other requests in the future will need to come back to Planning Commission or will need to meet R1 setbacks. That concludes staff recommendation.
Gentlemen, have any questions for staff? The applicant here. Yes, sir. Would you like to come forward and give us your name and home address?
My name is Doug McMonigal at 407 Dixon Drive, and she explained it well. It's just Dixon Drive is a dead-end road and has about 6 to 7 property owners on it. I can't even drive my boat down Dixon Drive to do a turnaround. There's no cul-de-sac or anything, and I'd have to get on somebody else's property to turn around. And like I said, where that utility building is proposed to be placed, it's really, I've got a lot of obstacles on my property with septic tank lines and the natural low-lying swell where all the water comes down from all the surrounding properties right there, where if I went back further, it'd be right in damming all this water coming down in through there. And then if I moved it over, it's behind, if she went back to the proposal that, or the picture that shows the overview, I've got a pool with a fence behind it, and in order for me to get and hug that fence and then do a 300, do a turnaround in my backyard to come up and straighten up my truck and boat to back into that utility building, I couldn't do that if I moved it further back too, because it's way, I couldn't do it with the pool fence that's there. So there's just a lot of obstacles. And I'm 50 to 52 feet back, and there's at least three properties already on Dixon Drive that are less than the 65 feet, and they're grandfathered in. They're like 45 feet from the center of the road. Properties, addresses 490, 411, 418. 3 out of the 8 are already, their main homes are less than 65 feet, so.
All right, thank you, sir. Gentlemen, any questions?
I do have a couple questions. Do you have a contractor to build this, or are you gonna do it yourself?
It's I submitted a permit with the county. It's Carolina's carports. It's an enclosed
Sounds like a
metal
silly
building.
question, but time that I've been on this committee, I've seen people come and submit drawings, have someone do it, licensed contractor, and then we're back here saying that it wasn't done correctly. I just want to encourage you to make sure that whatever is met here, if approved, follows that, so you're not back here asking for additional variances.
Yes, sir, Mr. Pauls. I'm the owner of MRC Construction Company, so yes, I'm very familiar.
Okay. And could you draw what you were explaining on there, the turnaround, how big is, I'm assuming you're gonna pave a good, like a drive, maybe a T-cut driveway so you can move in and out?
I'm just going to pull in off of my driveway that's currently there.
And actually draw on that screen.
Oh, I was just going to come in off of my driveway into here, and then I have to do a 360-degree turnaround to come back out, straighten my truck and trailer out so I can back right into that.
So you're not gonna pave any of that, it's just grass?
No, I'm just going by, and the utility building is just right on the gravel. It's not even going to be a permanent foundation or anything of that nature. It's going to be a nice enclosed, olive-colored utility building that matches the color of my house. And, I've got a nice house. I'm not going to put anything that wouldn't be equally as nice.
Okay.
Gentlemen, any other questions? Thank you, sir. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here that'd like to speak either for or against this particular variance? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and accept a motion to approve, deny, or to table.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve with conditions file VA 2011-04, reduction in the front setback at 407 Dixon Drive.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Approved carries 5-0. And our final public hearing item for the evening, Ms. Montgomery, file VA 201105.
Yes, sir, this is a request for a variance to section 90-135, that's our sign code at 1325 Appling Harlem Road. This property is located at the northeast quadrant of the roundabout at Appling Harlem Road and Wrightsboro Road, and is currently zoned C2 General Commercial. And this is the aerial of the site. It does not look like this anymore if you've been out that way recently. This is the Sprint gas station that's under construction, so it looks quite a bit different than the vacant site you see there. So here's the site photo. They're making good progress. And the request before you tonight has two aspects. The first is the freestanding sign, and the second is the canopy signage. They're requesting an increase in height and sign face for this freestanding sign. So this is their proposed sign that they would like to have on the property. This site, based on the size of the building, is allowed, and the fact that Appling Harlem Road is an arterial road, they do get a 25% increase over the base allowance. So total, they're allowed 75 square feet of sign face and 15 feet of height. Now you see the sign proposed here is a little over 17 feet tall and 105 square feet of sign face, so it does need a variance in order to be allowed on the property. So this is the site plan of the site. The applicants have contended that they're allowed a little bit more than those numbers I just quoted. They're considering this wraparound here to be an additional road based on the fact that it serves multiple parcels. That's not supported by county code or by the conditions on the site. Basically, we define a road as being listed in our road registry, which I realize is kind of circular, but typically those roads are also identified by a right-of-way, by a road classification as either the arterial, like Appling Harlem or Wrightsboro, as a collector, or as a local road. That they have the right-of-way, they have a required width of that right-of-way they have to meet depending on the road classification. There's traffic control signage, and with all of that comes then requirements for landscape strips, requirements for setbacks, and as I said, it does feed into the signage allowance depending on that road classification and the presence of corner lots and things like that. In this case, this is an access easement. It provides access to both of those properties, but it has no road name, it has no right-of-way, and it's not a road. In support of that, this property is addressed from Appling Harlem Road as the location where their driveway access is from Appling Harlem. This property is surrounded by the Greenpoint PUD, which was approved earlier this year. That's going to come into play with this request in that Greenpoint itself, the larger project, will have its own master sign plan. They're already working on the guidelines, and we've had some preliminary discussions on them about what that will look like. The proposed sign has been designed to be in keeping with that, to use similar materials, to use the Greenpoint logo on the sign, things of that nature. Greenpoint itself, from the conversations we have had with them, will use the county size and height requirements. So they're not requesting larger signs, they're largely going for a kind of design-focused master sign plan. So this is the location for the permitted sign. We did receive an application for a slightly different sign on the site last week that was approved. So this is the sign that's under construction out there. This one meets the county code. It's 15 feet, and it's 74 square feet of sign face, so it's about a square foot under what they're allowed. This obviously shows that they can meet the sign code and still provide all of the information on the sign that they were looking for. Part of the applicant's argument was that the state law for advertising on gas stations required a certain letter height or number height and required them to have certain things on the sign. And to an extent, that's true. They do have to have advertising on the sign. They have to display the prices. They have to have uniform number heights. What is not in the state code is any minimum number height. So I went and looked at some of the other sign permits we've done for gas stations. There's quite a wide range of number heights. Got everything from 16 inches to 26 inches, and that is all on arterial roads. Now this site also has the benefit of being basically at the roundabout, which means traffic has to slow down because of the roundabout. So with the slower traffic, a little bit smaller numbers are more legible, and that gives them a little flexibility to play with on the number height. They are at about 21 inches right now for the number height, so that's reasonable. That's kind of midline of what we see in the numbering size. We did also get these are the Greenpoint kind of designed signs to go with the master sign plan that they're working on. So you can see using similar stone and the wood columns to what's proposed. These signs actually do meet the height requirements and possibly the square footage requirements, although we don't have numbers on the sign face.
Montgomery, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Are the stone bases included in the calculation of the square feet of the sign face?
No, sir.
They're not.
We only count the advertising square footage.
Got it.
So the base is outside of that. So for this purpose, in order to meet that design, they could add, the stone base here. The only thing that's not on this sign is the base and the Greenpoint logo. Now the Greenpoint logo is currently about 6 square feet, not a large increase, and that is with this freestanding sign, the only thing we're kind of recommending approval with the condition that the only increase they would get would be enough to do that logo to help tie it into the larger development. The second aspect is the canopy sign. So they're allowed 12 square feet on each side of the canopy facing a road. Now the canopy that they're looking at is the diesel canopy. It's at the back of the site. So back here, this is the building in front, Appling Harlem, and generally Wrightsboro further down than that, but generally in that direction. The canopy sign they've submitted is 68 square feet, and that's about 5.5 times the code allowance. It's changed locations a couple times during this variance process. So the current and hopefully final location is on kind of the north side of that canopy, so facing towards undeveloped Greenpoint property. Really not visible from a road from that perspective. Really with the location of the canopy, regardless of which side they put it on, there won't be long-term visibility from the road, so it's really internal directional. You will have had to have already entered the site to really see it. At that point, the pricing's really irrelevant. The concern is they need to direct traffic to the diesel canopy, particularly the large trucks. It's our contention you can do that with a 12 square foot sign, just needs to say diesel. They would already have met the advertising requirements for the state with the freestanding sign. As far as directing traffic into the site, they would be better served with doing possibly a shared sign with the out parcel that is on Wrightsboro Road, or using some directional kind of miscellaneous signs. So it is staff's recommendation to disapprove the requests for the increases in the freestanding sign height and the canopy sign square footage, and to approve with conditions the request for the increase in the freestanding sign square footage. And those conditions would be that the design remain in keeping with the larger Greenpoint signage, so using the materials and the general design that you saw, retaining the height limit of 15 feet, allowing sign face up to 80 square feet. That's the small addition to allow them to include the logo on the sign. Canopy sign allowance remaining 12 square feet. And then the proposed location of the freestanding sign requires an encroachment agreement, which I believe we got this evening. So they're already working towards that. And that concludes the staff recommendation.
I've got one question. Are there any precedents that would be set with these particular issues tonight?
So since this is the first development in this kind of Greenpoint area, and it is not part of the Greenpoint PUD, but it is, as you saw, being tied into Greenpoint with the logo, with the sign design. That is one of the concerns, is that if Greenpoint intends to maintain county code standards as far as we've heard at this point. Allowing this sign to get larger either allows it to dominate the streetscape. It'll be larger than any of the other signs for the other businesses that come in the future, or possibly opens that up to them asking for larger signs as well because of this first sign in the area.
So it would be setting a precedent. Is that what you
For
said?
this development, yes, sir.
And could that precedent be then applied, since you wouldn't be confined to Greenpoint, you could use it around other parts of the county?
I don't know about other parts of the county, just outright as a blanket statement, but I think certainly up and down this corridor, you know, it would be a little bit difficult to make that argument that, well, you did it here and kind of worked your way up the corridor, where would we stop? And I think that's one of the concerns that staff has with regards to, you know, opening that door kind of to larger signs than what are already permitted by right.
Gentlemen, any other questions? Okay, this is a public hearing. Is the applicant here this evening?
'39 Pondview Road, Evans. Since Scott, Matt, and I met earlier this week, we have revised our request somewhat.
Oh, sorry.
Ready? Sir.
The original request for the variance was put together from a meeting with Lionel Prather to keep the signage within the Greenpoint design that he's worked on with y'all, obviously, and with Andy Jones, which is the president and owner of Sprint Food Stores. So that's where the original application came in. And again, working with Scott and Danielle, and we still contend that the road around the property is a road, which we went to Bo Slaughter and have a letter that basically states that it's built according to county requirements, et cetera, and that it is a private road. I have a copy of the letter if you'd like to see it. We've never contended it was a county road, which would require right-of-way and the things that Danielle explained. We get that it's not a county right-of-way, but it is a road because, in our opinion, it connects Wrightsboro Road and Appleton Harlem Highway. Irrespective of that, our new proposal is we've condensed the part of the gas price section and kitchen section of the sign down to where it will comply on the right-hand side, the one without the stonework. If we are allowed to do the stonework, it will need to be 16 foot 6 inches high instead of, I think, the 19 that we had before, Danielle. It would need to be 16, 6 inches high. And we calculate actual square footage, which is 75.6. The county code outlines that square footage has to be calculated as a square, which if you read in the yellow block, if we use actual square footage and squared square footage for the Sprint logo, we would be at 81 square feet. We feel that the sign on the left does two things. It keeps the integrity of Greenpoint to the extent that it needs to, and even though it's a little over square footage by 6 feet, it keeps the integrity of the Sprint logo based on what their registered trademark is. We feel like the owners and development folks of Greenpoint have, we hope, come to a happy medium that y'all would look at it and make the recommendation that it get approved. Obviously, the sign on the left looks a lot more Greenpointish than the one on the right.
So the one on the right is meeting with the code, is that what I'm looking at?
That's correct. That meets the code specifically.
And you can't put, the base is not high enough at 2.1 or 2 feet 1 inches to have enough space to put the Greenpoint logo? Is that what you're saying?
Again, we felt like the real Greenpoint logo, if she'll go back, or whoever will go back to the picture, shows that across the base and up. That's the real Greenpoint logo. So basically, we'd be putting a little bit of stone around the bottom of it.
What's staff's opinion of this? Time to work the math?
One other
So
point.
I don't know that the math is the concern, but this is the first time we're seeing this, so we're studying.
Okay.
So you can't do stone on the one that's conforming with county code? It couldn't have a stone base as well?
We could do
Looking at
stone,
5
yeah,
inches.
we could do stone, but we just feel like that overall design of the one on the left will be a little bit sharper and look a little more Greenpointish. And then, based on Sprint's registered trademark, the logo on the right is basically looks very, very out of context of what their typical trademark is, as far as the size, et cetera, relative to the gas price digits.
Here's what let's do. Let's open up, I think there's a couple of folks that wanted to speak. Let's go ahead and get some input from the public on this and let staff have an opportunity to look at this and consider it.
Okay.
And then we'll get you to come back up if that's acceptable to you. All right? Thanks, sir. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here that'd like to speak either for or against this particular variance? Yes, sir. Please come forward. Give us your name and home address.
My name is Leo Price. I live at 2411 Telfair Lane, Patrick Glen subdivision, right across the street from this gas station. And when y'all, I'm so upset with this, it's not even funny. We first came to this first meeting, I came here 2.5 years ago when y'all were trying to prove to put this gas station here. I said we didn't want a truck stop out here. The Prather was standing right over there, stood up in the meeting and said it's not gonna sell diesel and not gonna be a truck stop. Saying a truck stop, I don't know what one is. The way they had that road coming around the back, y'all need to really go out there and look at it. Because this way the trucks can come in and go out on Riceboro Road. Come out on Riceboro Road, they're gonna hit the sign. They're gonna hit people because they're gonna come all the way out in the wrong lane. Putting on our property on Riceboro Road, where they're building, they're not putting no any kind of ditch or anything, and water's gonna be running into the backyards of people's houses over there. Signs, just, y'all need to make them go by code, because everything to me has been a lie about this gas station. It wasn't supposed to be a truck stop, it was supposed to sell diesel. A mile away from the interstate. Just think of the traffic can come down that road, how close it is to the roundabout. It's gonna be dangerous, very dangerous in and out that gas station.
Thank you, sir.
Y'all need to come really look, because y'all the ones that said, when he said no diesel, no truck stop, y'all said, okay.
Excuse me, sir. I live out there right near it,
I do too.
and I pass it all the time.
Yeah.
So I've seen
Like
the ingress, egress, and I've seen the entrances, and I don't
On
agree.
the other side now,
Yes, sir, I go by there all the time.
there's a ditch, where a ditch is 6 foot into somebody's backyard. Go look at it.
I do, I go past there all the time, that's
Well,
what I just told you.
I don't want to say what I want to say, but y'all need to, these signs, make them go by code. You know, 'cause y'all said it wasn't gonna be a truck stop, it wasn't gonna sell diesel. The Prather said that, I didn't. Go back on your minutes when we first read it, and I guarantee it's in it.
Sir.
I mean, what's wrong is wrong.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak either for or against a particular variance? Okay, Mr. Peters? 2 foot.
Old age. Is a simple answer.
Thirdly, Ms. Montgomery?
Yes, sir.
How's it going over there?
They're still ciphering.
So what we stated in the staff report is that we would be willing to go from the 75 that's allowed under code to accommodate the additional square footage for the Greenpoint logo up to 80. So what we're trying to,
Well, in the design of that base that we have shown you tonight is basically a recommendation from Matt Monday when Scott and Matt and I had a meeting out there to place the sign, and that was his recommendation. He said, take the side off of it, make the right side look like the left side. That was his recommendation.
So you've approved 80 and they're at 81 if it's squared.
So the quick math I just did, I got 85.
because again, we're not really here to debate tonight how to calculate the ball, if you will, the spring ball, but how that's calculated under the current sign ordinance is it's square. It's not just the circumference calculation. So,
I think what's missing, the 81 doesn't include the Greenpoint logo as signage.
yeah.
Okay. Would that be correct?
We squared our total.
Did you?
And squared, as
Okay.
noted on there, is 81 square feet.
Right, and I see
With the
measurements for
Greenpoint
the
logo?
actual square footage for the Sprint logo and for the
Yeah.
pricing, but there's not one for Greenpoint, so I think that's where the 81 came from,
No.
Greenpoint's included?
what
in
it
the-
looks like.
You know, honestly, I mean, Greenpoint's not gonna sell any fuel, or anything, so
But that was one of the
obviously, they would like, it's not included,
questions.
no.
Okay, but that was one of the questions I asked earlier, if anything on the pedestal itself was included in, I think.
So the
Remember said the
stone
Greenpoint
itself
logo.
is not,
No,
because
but
it's
the
not
logo is.
advertising.
Stone doesn't matter.
The
But
logo is.
the logo would,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's where we went from the 75 required, adding 5 square feet for the Greenpoint logo, if you would.
Technically, it's 6, but
Is that what it is?
it's 6, according to your staff.
I would suggest that there's a debate on measurements and sign and the creation of sign, and you guys are just getting this. The table or postpone, whatever word we're using, this portion of the meeting.
I can assure you our measurements are accurate.
Well, they don't agree with you, so I would rather you guys hash that out on y'all's time.
Well,
Since we're
but if
close
you
to my
look,
bedtime.
it's pretty simple.
Yeah,
You look at the measurement on the side, it's 8 feet.
We, normally when we have stuff like this, that we give staff time to be able to look
Okay.
at it in a reasonable fashion and work with you on it as opposed to dropping it in a meeting and us trying to make a
Yeah, I
a
don't think it's
decision
fair.
on the fly.
I don't think it's fair.
I'm not sure it's
Applicant
fair
either.
to either of you all or the public
Right.
to make a snap decision like that.
Mr. Chairman, I think.
Yes, sir.
I think staff could be comfortable, based on what was submitted and what you see up on the screen. He has the sprint ball at 4'7" diameter. The proposed that he handed out is up to 5 feet. He can bump that back. I think we can live with the.
I think his argument is that the smaller diameter doesn't work well with the brand of
Yeah,
this.
and I think that was, and I'll let Mr. Peters correct me if I'm wrong and not speak on his behalf, but the one that was approved was the 4'3" diameter, so he's increasing that. So I think the happy medium would be the 4'7", kind of the middle point, if you will. 4'3" is what got approved end of last week, early this week. 5 is what he's hoping to get, based on what he submitted tonight. 4'7" in the middle.
So you're saying if we went with a 4'7" logo, the rest of the design would work? I mean, based on
I think
the
we
measurements being accurate,
can live with that.
we can live with that.
So we're looking at the proposal on the left with stone base.
With the exception being that the sprint ball on top is 4'7".
5 foot to 4'7".
4'7".
We'll get the math calc out and
Yeah.
have that for BOC.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Not to this piece of it.
Okay, how about to the other piece of it?
The other piece, the proposal to put the digits on the gas canopy. That one, Danielle?
Ray, excuse me just a second. Weren't we gonna vote twice on this one issue and then the other?
Why don't, let's go ahead and
Isn't that
hear
what we
all,
said?
let's go ahead and hear all the narrative here and go ahead and address them, and then we can do them as two different motions. But we can go ahead and get all the public input now.
Don't have a copy for
Public, this is an overview, plat itself.
Our contention to put the prices on the north side of on the north side towards the store front, to advertise diesel, off-road diesel, because off-road diesel is not a typical thing that most convenience stores carry. But in that area, off-road diesel felt like would be a popular item. And then also the DEF price, which DEF is what a larger truck, tractor trailer, whatever, needs when they, sorry?
Obama fluid?
Yeah, Obama fluid, there you go. But DEF is also needed. But if you look at that plat, once you turn off Apple, if you're coming from the interstate, which the obvious reason for the gas or the diesel canopy here is because of Amazon. If you're coming from the interstate and you turn into that driveway that goes around the building, then you would see that the diesel canopy is behind the store and they wouldn't take that first turn going into the store, which would basically be auto traffic. So.
Sir, please don't address from the crowd. Thank you.
It would not be on the Wrightsboro Road side of the canopy. It would be on the private road side of the canopy or private driveway, whatever you want.
Are there any smaller directional signs that are proposed for the property?
No, sir, not that we've seen.
No, sir.
So just to be clear, he's talking about the canopy sign being here, facing that direction. This is Abilene Harlem, Wrightsboro Road. Just so everybody has kind of a clear understanding.
Yep, what would be here?
So you've got entrance there off of Abilene Harlem, full movement, and there's a full movement opportunity on Wrightsboro.
How are they gonna enter?
So they would come around and either enter this direction or direction. They could exit either U-turn by coming that up even more.
And of course, when you do enter this way, you would be able to see this.
Are they gonna have propane as well?
I don't know, to tell you the truth. Although Mr. Jones does own a propane distributorship, so,
I know that.
but I don't know the answer.
Okay.
There's obviously not gonna be a sign for propane then, huh?
Is there anything else, Mr. Peters?
No, sir?
Thanks, sir. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone else who'd like to add, speak either for or against a particular variance? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and accept a motion. And what I'd like to do is I would like to break this into two motions. One that deals with the Sprint sign along Abilene Harlem Highway, and one that deals with the awning signs on the rear of the store. I'll need a motion to
I'll make
approve,
a-
deny, or to table the first.
I'll make a motion on the first. Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the sign as submitted by Mr. Peters with the 4-foot 7-inch logo for
Okay, with any attached conditions.
with the conditions directed by the
Okay. Do I hear a second
staff.
for the first part of the motion?
Second.
Discussion? Okay, all in favor for the first motion to approve the sign with the diameter of the Sprint ball reduced to 4 foot 7 inches? All in favor? Approved carries 5-0. Now, for the second motion, I'll need a motion to approve, deny, or to table the canopy signs.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to deny the canopy signs for the reason being of the precedent we would set for any future businesses coming.
Do I hear a second?
second.
Discussion? All in favor to deny the canopy signs? Motion to deny carries 5-0. We have no legal matters. Staff and commissioner comments? Okay, any public comments? Sir? Okay. Yes, sir. Please come forward, give us your name and home address.
Luke Wilder, 1597 Baldwin Lakes. I get to see you again. Cousin over here. I just want to comment, I was a little surprised. We were expecting to hear from Atholite on, which was RZ 201108 on 229 Southfield Bel Air. So we're quite a few of us from the neighborhood next door had come here, but so I'd like to comment on that at this point. First off, I'm on the Neighborhood Property Owners Association Board, currently the vice
So
president.
you're not planning on coming on the 17th?
I will, but here I think the main thing is the issue. We certainly I recommend before any zoning comes up again, that you deal with the current problems. Because I receive many complaints about noise and light and traffic coming from that neighborhood that they haven't addressed. So that's my major concern with them right now. And there's a lot of recommendations I could make, but I think those things have not addressed. Of course, I would not be in favor of this current zoning, and it was kind of strange and surprising for them to turn us down at the last minute when we were expecting to have comments. And there's going to be a few more people, I think, that are going to echo, but I just wanted to give that perspective from the Property Owners Association. Those comments have not been addressed, and it's an issue.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir, please give us your name and home address.
My name is Kevin Kilburn. I live at 710 Mural Lake Court, which is almost directly across from the Atholite facility. I plan on being here on December 17th, so I'm not going to try to go over everything I wanted to address. But I do want to emphasize that in the 2 years that Athlete's been there, Ryan Bowers hasn't done much to comply with his current narrative. And I've spoken with Dana Rhodes many times about this. I don't know, is she here today? Oh, okay. I didn't know what you look like. I've never seen you. But she can tell you, there's a lot of violations. And what I had intended today to come here and ask is, based on his inability or unwillingness to comply with his current narrative, I don't think he should be allowed to now upgrade his narrative. When I catch my kids with their hand in the cookie jar after they've been told not to, I don't entertain the idea of giving them their favorite cookies in there or giving them some milk. So I don't think he should be rewarded for his bad behavior. I think the exact opposite. I think he needs to be, look, you're not going to do this. Okay, and that said, I did have a PowerPoint presentation. I don't know if anybody has seen it or cares to see it at this point.
Yeah, we'd like to hold it till the 17th if we can.
Okay, that's fine. That's
All right?
But, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Is there anyone else that would like to enter a public comment? Yes, sir. Please go ahead and give us your name and home address again for the record.
Leo Price, 2411 Telfair Lane, Harlem, Georgia. Thank you for disapproving the signs, but also can y'all please, that back road behind that Sprint gas station, when trucks are gonna come around that roundabout to turn in off Wrightsboro Road, there's not enough room. There's a telephone pole there, everything. When they come back out, they're gonna swing where they made the thing over there on the other side by Hatcher Glen. There's a drop-off. There's no guardrail or anything gonna be there to keep them. Somebody really needs to go look at that road.
We'll make that notation to traffic, if we could do that. And
I'll
probably
call
also
DOT.
to Sheriff Whittle as well.
Yeah, we'll touch
Talk
base
DOT
with
about
traffic
stuff like
engineering.
that. And they're supposed to be looking into it too, because on one side, they put the culverts in. On their side, on our side, there's no culvert, there's no ditch. Like I said, we already have a water problem at Hatcher Glen as far as runoff off the roads and stuff. Right there where that little easement they put on the side, that water gonna run off into a natural wetland.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Yes, ma'am, please, and sir, we'll get you next. Please give us your name and home address.
My name is Chrissy Dyer. I live at 512 Julia Court, Grovetown, Georgia, 30813. I just wanted to share with you my perspective on Athlete Academy and just my experience with the business. I've lived for the last 8 years off of Old Bel Air Road in the Bel Air Commons subdivision. It's a mile away from Athlete Academy's location. And to be honest, I was worried a couple years ago when I heard a business was going to move into a place that used to be residential. I was not really pleased about that at all. But I have an open mind. So I attended the grand opening with my my then 8-year-old daughter, who was able to participate in some of the activities that they had there. They were in connection with their opening. And I was impressed, I was impressed and more amenable to Athlete Academy being so close to my home. I've not thought about their location again beyond that until August this year. So it hasn't occurred to me. It's not been an issue. Anyway, in August, I signed up for fitness classes through Athlete. I attend 4 days weekly. I choose them because they are close to my house, because the atmosphere is family-oriented, because it's not the typical gym feel. Staff there and people who participate in classes are friendly, encouraging, and are focused solely on improving their physical health in some way. I travel south Old Bel Air Road at least 4 times a day, one way or another, in taking my children or me or my husband or whatever to places we need to go. The travel times are peak for traffic, like between 7 and 8 a.m. in the mornings, weekdays, between 4 and 6 in the evenings. This is all the time because I have kids, and so we travel. I have never had an issue with any traffic because of athletes. In fact, I've never even noticed any changes in anything since they've been there. Athlete Academy seems to fit right into the communities that are around it. From the perspective of somebody who was reluctant to have Athlete so close to my home, I changed my mind. I'm happy to have the services they offer close to where I live, and I'm glad they're there. So,
thank you.
Just wanted to put that out there.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir. I remember you. Glad to see you're a member of the club.
My name is Cal McQueen. I live at 716 Merrill Lake Court, right across that little driveway. We have not complained officially because we could live with it. There's a lot of dust. He said in some email that I was given that he had no plans to pave it because it's a farm property. Folks, it's not a farm property. Not anymore. All that cement there, there's garages. I think I counted 13 garages. Coming out tonight, traffic. Coming here tonight, when I pulled up to South Old Bel Air Road, I stopped. There's a vehicle coming out of Athlete, turning left in front of me. No problem. There's two more, and they didn't stop. They just pulled right on out there. Traffic is a problem, and if they increase that, I hear they want to have community events. I hear he wants to have summer camps. That's not for our neighborhood. Not for our neighborhood. We are not set up to support that. And the lights. We started talking about the lights on our Facebook page for the neighborhood. They went out. They're back tonight. I presume he pulled the application today. So the lights are back on. And these are not, what do you call it, environmentally friendly lights. They're the old-fashioned incandescent lights that are bright. My son was visiting from Chicago last week, and he said, "Dad, that's a bit much back there, don't you think?" Well, he's right. There's a lot of lights, surprisingly. But the dust, the traffic, and the lights are my major issues with this thing. And I think if they grow, by the way, there were 7 cars parked in the parking lot when I left. Come here. I don't think that was part of the original thing.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any other members of the public that would like to comment? Yes, sir.
Can I just go ahead?
No, sir. Let's do that on the 17th, not tonight. Yes, sir. Understand. Let's don't carry on this conversation from the gallery, please. No more public comments, so, gentlemen, I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Do you hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Who's got the time tonight? All in favor? Motion to adjourn carries 5-0 at 7:23. Next meeting is December 3rd, 2020, 6 p.m. in these chambers. Thank you for coming out. We appreciate your input.
First Thursday, like always.